What's up, guys? This is the Horrors of Hollywood Part 2. If you guys have not seen Part 1 yet, I would suggest to go check it out. Part 1 has to do with the Illuminati and the so-called satanic rituals that happen in Hollywood, all in the heart of gaining fame. In Part 2 of the Horrors of Hollywood, we will be discussing more of the secrets that happen in Hollywood, but viewer discretion is indeed advised when it comes to this video because we'll be discussing more serious topics. You guys will hear shortly what those topics are, and resources will always be linked down below. I hope you guys enjoy.
Taking you in this moment.
So y'all, I am done talking about the Illuminati and all that creepy stuff. This has been a discussion for me, like the time of me filming right now has been over an hour of talking about this stuff, and I don't like talking about this stuff because it creeps me out. I'm glad that segment of the video is over and done with, and now we're going to talk about another topic of Hollywood that I personally am not comfortable with speaking about as well, but it doesn't have to do with all this creepy spiritual stuff. But now we're going to be speaking about and child abuse within Hollywood and the entertainment industry. There are an immense amount of and sexual exploitation among children in Hollywood, from Drew Barrymore, Brooke Shields, and so many other women among the industry when they were children. We're going to highlight a few young celebrities that really went through childhood exploitation, sexual abuse, all of those things. So if you are uncomfortable hearing about this, I would suggest to skip this segment. I have these videos labeled in chapters so you can move on to the next chapter. And I'll also be leaving some links down below if you are someone that has suffered with abuse and you're struggling currently. When it comes to the youth and sexual abuse, we don't really highlight boys that go through sexual abuse. We mainly highlight the young girls that do. And I want to make sure that I do my part and I highlight the boys because the boys go through a lot as well. Someone specifically we will highlight is none other than Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is a very famous singer, and when I tell you, when he came out when he was just 13 years old, he took the world by storm. That boy was everywhere and every teen girl was in love with him. But it wasn't just teenage girls that were chasing after this young boy.
He was hysterical. That little kid is like a walking set of hormones. He is.
Wow. Got a little too touchy-feely with you?
He wasn't just like patting my butt, he was grabbing my butt and he kept saying, "Is it inappropriate? Is this inappropriate?"
Oh my,
and he would grab it harder and go, "Is it inappropriate now? Is it inappropriate now?" 15.
Wow.
Ridiculously cute, but
Wow.
Justin Bieber, you gotta go on the Hi. Oh my gosh, he's kissing me. Here, come sit here. Come sit by me right here. Dude, Justin Bieber just like comes up and you just started making out with me. Do you know that? So you're not talking to any girls?
Right now I'm not.
No?
I mean, I'm talking to girls, but I'm not like.
Has your mom given
out.
you the sex talk yet?
I mean, like, I really don't want to have that conversation with my mother.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of had it with my father.
You want to hear? Oh, really? See, my
little bit.
parents never gave me the sex talk.
Okay.
So why don't you give me the sex talk?
I feel uncomfortable right now.
Oh.
Why do you want to know the sex talk from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird. Let's talk about the album.
Okay, what's going on with your new album?
My album.
I feel violated right now. Wow.
Backstage, McCarthy joked about what Bieber jokingly called violating.
I did grab his butt. I'm single, but I think that's cougar rape.
So was the butt grab spontaneous?
Well, it better be, because that's just weird if it isn't. Yeah, you know, I gave him a kiss and there was a lot of lipstick, and then my partner Luke decided to wipe it off, and I was like, no, asshole, I did that for a reason. So remember me. So then I couldn't help it. He was just so delicious. So little. Just, I want to tear his head off and eat it.
Can I say this? Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. Like that was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, look at your eyes. What music are you listening to at the moment, Justin? But look at him, look at what a beautiful face. All right, now it's time to find out.
I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So, and we gonna go full crazy.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh?
No.
You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, business, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Right, okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying Diddy did anything to Justin Bieber, but if you just look at this one interaction, Justin seemed to be very nervous when Diddy asked him why he hasn't been contacting him and they weren't hanging out like they used to. This is a teenage boy. Justin was probably 15 or 16 at this time, and Diddy was a grown man. So him asking why a teenager was no longer hanging out with him was a bit odd. And even with the words, he's going to be mine for 48 hours, that seemed to be peculiar as well. Once again, these are all allegations. I'm not saying Diddy did anything, but just from what we've seen, this was weird to me at least.
We don't even know the depth of what this young boy went through, especially given the amount of transformations that Justin has gone through throughout his career, the legal troubles he's gone through as well, and substance abuse and all of these things that has happened with him. We don't even know the depth of it. But the funny thing is people are so quick to judge and speak down on someone, which y'all have never experienced what this young man has experienced. If you just look at interview clips, if you just look at video footage of him at award shows, this young boy was prayed after by adults, and not just adult women, adult men as well, and he was always visibly uncomfortable. Also, Justin Bieber has spoken very publicly on child exploitation, and people believe he subliminally was speaking on it in his hit song Yummy, within the lyrics and the music video. Take a look at this person doing an in-depth description of what people speculate Yummy was truly about.
I want to talk about something that I observed while watching the Yummy music video by Justin. Pay attention. First of all, there's a group of kids playing music, and they look very confused. Children performing for adults, which Justin Bieber had to enter the spotlight as a young child. And just look at this lady, right? Pay attention to her face. That lady we just saw. The lady we just saw eating the fries with the glasses, she's a significant part of this video. There it is. Now look at this clip of Justin Bieber as a teen. It was so disgusting when I seen it. That's why I said pay attention to that lady. The lady with the glasses who had similar hair to this, which I don't think was a coincidence in the video, who said that the reason why she grabbed and kissed Justin Bieber on the neck is because he looked so delicious. He just looked so good. He looked yummy, which is why he did this. And towards the Yummy video, there's actually Justin Bieber on a plate. This is not a coincidence.
And now to further allude to the point that was being made in the previous clip, here is how Justin Bieber was behaving during the filming of the Yummy music video. The song is meant to be happy, or that's what it seems like. But during the music video, Justin seemed to be very depressed and upset, almost as if he knew there was a deeper meaning behind the video that was making him uncomfortable. Take a look at this. This is why whenever people mention Justin Bieber now and they call him a man-child, I find it kind of insensitive, especially with all that he went through growing up. We haven't heard the in-depth of it because he has not been open as much as we may have liked him to, but this is his own story. And just from these few clips, you can hear the discomfort in Justin's voice whenever an adult put him in an uncomfortable situation. It really reminds me of with Michael Jackson when people were accusing him of children. Though Michael was found innocent, a lot of people still believe that he was indeed children. But if you look at Michael's childhood, he never had a childhood. And that's the same with Justin Bieber. He worked practically all of his teen years and some of his kid years. Both of their youths were taken from them, which is why when they do become adults and they act like quote unquote children, y'all think it's weird, but it's because they never got that experience that normal people would have gotten at the appropriate time.
And I just want to quickly highlight the Olsen twins because we don't really know much about the Olsen twins because they don't touch on what they went through in their childhood, but those girls have literally been working since they were about 1 year old. I want to show you guys a clip of Bob Saget, who played the dad in the hit series they were in, Full House, was playing with two blow-up dolls that were meant to be the young girls that he worked with every day, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, and doing very sexual things to those dolls. Take a look at this.
They instead of Ashley and Mary-Kate, for Michelle, as a 3-year-old kid, they gave me a doll to talk to for rehearsal. A rubber doll, not even plastic, like a test dummy. It looked like a porn doll. It was just missing the stuff.
Sure.
You know, all those. You ever done that? You ever been with one of those things?
Well, not one that I would hold that would mimic a 4-year-old, but yeah.
Good
have I ever? Yeah.
Sure. All the kids that were on the show were very young then. They're like, you know, young. And they were up in their schoolroom or in the trailer. And I was there with just the crew. It was mostly guys, a couple of ladies, but I had the rubber doll. I'm in the bedroom. I have to do it. You know, Anthony, the morality play at that show.
The little speech.
Shit, the sizer music comes in and start talking. And so there wasn't at that moment, but that was the scene. So I'm in her room and I'm going, honey, you know, I'm holding the doll. I'm looking into a rubber doll's head. Now I was always a comedian since I was 17. So I said, I can't do this. Can't we just read it? Do I have to do this? I went, no, we need it for blocking. Cameras need to see it. You need to see it. So I'm like talking to it, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then I just grabbed it, you know, and I just threw it on the bed and I just started pretending, you know, that I was right. So the crew's watching this and they're laughing their asses off. But I did it kind of slow. I didn't do it. You know, I took my time with it. I didn't want to do anything to offend anybody. At first I was like dancing with it. And then I was like, you know, laying in the bed talking to it. And then
foreplay. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was very lifelike.
Wow.
What? Come on.
That's great.
If you can cut this out, right?
No.
So one of the moms is the punchline. So one of the moms comes down, and this is all true, and she goes, "You got to stop this right now. This is on the monitors. The kids can see this in the classroom. The kids are watching. Do this." And I'm literally I'm just going, you know, like Lenny and Mice and Men. It's not a good thing what I'm doing.
Wow.
And that's a good reference too. It just gets worse.
Sure is.
Doing it. There's something wrong with me. And then she said, the kids are watching this. I said, well, turn off the monitors. I'm working. And that was my excuse was that I'm working. I considered that.
You're working. Instead of stopping.
I did stop.
Tell them to turn off the monitors.
What classrooms?
They would have the kids on a sitcom or television show. They're getting learning.
Yeah, I thought it was.
They're doing book learning.
I wasn't sure it was some weird closed circuit thing with public schools or something.
No, that was awesome, right?
Amazing.
The next clip I'm about to show you guys is when a bunch of comedians were roasting Bob Saget. It was a skit that they did on a show. However, a lot of the roast that they did towards Bob Saget involved the Olsen twins. And I have this theory that there's always a truth in some jokes. And I wonder why they kept using the Olsen twins as a joke when it came to Bob Saget being inappropriate towards them. Please take a look at this clip.
You know, the whole time Bob and I were doing Full House, he was also hosting America's Funniest Home Videos. What a tough gig that must have been, huh? His entire job consisted of saying, "Take a look at this," which is what he used to say to Mary-Kate Olsen in her dressing room.
Full House should have been called Blackjack because you hit on the Olsens when they were 8. You didn't stop till they were 21. Is it true that you used to give Mary-Kate acting lessons? He'd tell her, "Act like this never happened." She'd be like, "You got it, dude."
Now, we all know Mary-Kate and Ashley fell under the radar. A lot of people spoke on them. They allegedly dealt with eating disorders and substance abuse, but can you only imagine what those girls went through? They literally worked for years, over a decade, consistently. They never got a childhood. But it seems as if the only way for them to find peace was from leaving the industry. And they seem to lay low now. I don't know the implications of it. But they didn't even want to go back on Fuller House, which is the reboot of Full House, the show that they first started on. So now let's kick it back almost 100 years ago. And this has to do with Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple is probably one of Hollywood's first young breakout stars, and she was everywhere. She even has a drink named by her. But if you guys even know about the history of the drink, it's because Shirley Temple was always in adult atmospheres. So say she was at a bar and there was alcohol being served, a young girl should not be drinking alcohol. So they created a drink for Shirley, which is now the famous Shirley Temple drink, which is one of my favorite drinks ever. But the story behind it is even more sinister. Shirley Jane Temple was born in Santa Monica on April 23rd, 1928, and just at the age of 3, Shirley's mother enrolled her in Meglin Dance School in Los Angeles, where she was scouted by Charles Lamont. And Charles was the casting director for a very controversial studio, that studio being Educational Pictures. In 1932, the studio began a series called Baby Burlesque, where super young children about 2 to 3 would reenact famous films and current events.
So before I go on and mainly highlight Shirley, I want to emphasize how problematic these films were. It wasn't just Shirley that was exploited, it was all of these children. There were very inappropriate scenes. I'm going to show you guys a clip of some of those scenes that I found to be very daunting and inappropriate and exploitive.
Down on all fours, another toddler sits open-mouthed beneath an overturned baby bottle. A large sign in the background states, "Sour milk." When things go awry, Gloria comes to the rescue by pulling a rubber glove from her purse and attaching it to a keg of sweet milk. As the youngster suckles away, a man can be heard moaning rather than mooing on the accompanying soundtrack. In the last Baby Burlesque film, Kid in Africa, Shirley played the cannibal civilizing Christian missionary Madame Cradlebait. Attired in hot pants and a white safari hat, the pistol-wielding madam journeys through the jungle accompanied by an obedient troop of African coolies. During a raid, she is captured and stuck in a cliché cooking pot. After seasoning her with salt, the cannibal chief asks the telephone operator to connect him to extension 342. After Madame Cradlebait is rescued by a miniature Tarzan, the action abruptly shifts to an eerie post-honeymoon scene outside the Squaldorf Hotel. An African child carrying a Weary Nipple Cafe Specials billboard tanks up at the Last Chance filling station by sucking on the end of a gas pump. The mouthfuls he swallows are conveniently monitored on the gulp meter standing nearby. In case you missed it, here's a longer close-up of the pump's nozzle.
There is absolutely no reason why any adult found these scenes to be okay when it came to children. But now let's get back into Shirley specifically.
Despite that series having a cast of about a dozen kids, it was clear as day Shirley was the breakout star. And that probably was because of her little curly blonde locks and her blue eyes. At just the age of 3, Shirley got her first role in a film. And by the end of that year, she was already featured in 10 different movies. So this little 3-year-old was working very hard. Like 10 movies, especially at that time, I can only imagine how long it took to film movies. She was working quite a bit. And from 1932 to 1949, Shirley was in 40 different films. Between 1935 and 1938, Shirley was the world's top box office star. And despite the fact that she was so incredibly successful, you guys probably struggle to know any distinct films that Shirley has been in. And that's because the films that she was in today do not get the same love that they once did, and that was due to Shirley being heavily sexually exploited. So the first feature that I ever spoke on, which was when Shirley was one of 12 2 to 4-year-olds, the show Baby Burlesque, Shirley, at 3, let me reiterate, 3 years old, played a baby prostitute named Charmaine.
As the leading lady, Shirley Temple frequently played a prostitute or nightclub performer. In Glad Rags to Riches, she was La Belle Diaperina, a dancer at the Lullaby Lobster Palace. Her beau, Elmer, fails to impress when he chomps down hard on an enormous pickle. In War Babies, Pipsqueak Shirley played the diaper-clad harlot Gloria. The toddler soldiers, hanging around Pete's Buttermilk Cafe, compete for her attention by presenting her with enormous lollipops. Shirley's prostitute status is ultimately confirmed when a patron triumphantly picks his teeth with a bobby pin that held up her diapers. Shirley again played a call girl in Politics in Washington. Hired by the nipple and anti-castor oil lobby, she sets out to corrupt a new bumpkin senator. When Senator Clodbuster succumbs to her wily charms, Polly confirms her sex for hire status by stating,
I'm expensive.
In another one of her films called Bright Eyes, there's a very particular scene in the film where she was just a toddler singing the song in a very short baby doll dress, being carried, held, and touched by a dozen grown men. And in a 1936 film called Poor Little Rich Girl, there are a numerous amount of scenes of Shirley being fondled by men and being put in overall inappropriate situations.
In this next clip I'm about to show you guys, it's almost as if Shirley is serenading a grown man. And in this clip, I believe she's supposed to be talking to her father, but it does not allude to the fact that she's talking to her father at all. You would think she was talking to her man. Take a look at this clip and let me know if you feel the same way. Let me hug and kiss you. Marry me and let me be your wife. This is a little girl talking to her father, supposedly. And even just with the way he's looking at her, like he's looking at her as if he's in love with her. It doesn't give off a father-daughter love. It looks like a romantic love. Y'all, they don't call it Hollyweird for nothing.
Shirley's appearance in all these films probably fulfilled so many men's disgusting, crude, and inappropriate sexual fantasies, but behind the scenes, it was so much worse. In her 1988 book, Child Star and Autobiography, Shirley noted the sexual exploitation she dealt with during her time in her prime. She described the Baby Burlesque series as a cynical exploitation of our childish innocence. She also explained that if any of the preschool-age children misbehaved on set, they were locked in a windowless booth called the punishment box and were forced to sit on a solid block of ice for extended periods of time. Shirley said she was sent to the punishment box several times but claimed it did no lasting damage to her psyche.
In the beginning, there were 30 little children all together, 30 of us between the ages of 3 and 5. And this producer, in quotes, separated the children from our mothers, so the mothers didn't know what went on. So it was pretty rugged, a pretty tough time. Being a starlet was difficult. I was a starlet from 3 and a half to 5 years of age.
And you were known as One Take Temple, weren't you? Because you always knew your lines.
Yes.
So did they keep you in check by putting you in this, where? In the box?
In a black box. In the old days, they had one sound box on the stages to mix the sound. You know, they were black and they were on big rubber wheels and had a little narrow window way up high. Well, when we misbehaved, they had 2 sound boxes on our set. One of them had a big cake of ice in it. And when any of us misbehaved, we were sent one by one into the black box to cool off and think about it, in the dark, with the door closed. I got a lot of earaches, I got a lot of styes, I got a lot of problems from that. I was in the box several times.
No. How did you get on with it?
I still like ice.
Shirley stated that these production companies were very adamant on time is money, so she stated she was forced to work on multiple occasions while dealing with injuries. One time she specifically highlighted was when she had a very strenuous eardrum surgery and she still had to work the very next day. She mentioned how in 1940, at just the age of 12, she had a meeting with a producer by the name of Arthur Freed and he exposed himself to her. And then Shirley said she laughed out of confusion and nervousness, and once she did that, he threw her outside of the room.
Box. I went to MGM for one picture, thank goodness only one. And when I got there with my mother, we were separated. She went into the office of Louis B. Mayer, and I went into the office of Arthur Freed. And he was going to talk to me about a movie he wanted to put me in. I'm 12 years old, you know. And I thought he was a producer, but instead he was an exhibitor. And I'd never seen anyone naked before, except myself. So I had no clue about what was happening. And so it struck me so funny, I laughed at him. And I laughed uproariously. I had tears, you know, and he got infuriated. And he said, out, 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 go.
Did you tell your mother?
Well, I was very quiet. I went down and met her in the lobby of the administration building. She came out very quietly from Louis B. Mayor's office, and we walked hand in hand silently to the car, which was unusual. We got in the car driving home. I said, Mom, you won't believe what happened to me. And I told her what happened, and she got kind of quiet, and she said, well, you don't know what happened to me. And Louis B. Mayer wasn't as bad as Freed was to me. But he came on to my mother. And so we both decided that we didn't like MGM much. It was, it was better at Fox.
And if you guys don't know who Arthur Freed is, he produced the movies Wizard of Oz and Singing in the Rain. So he went on to work on numerous films, and 2 being classics to this day. And at just the age of 17, Shirley stated that she was sexually assaulted by a producer. That producer was David O. Shelnick. And the last person I want to speak on is Megan Fox, who in an interview stated that she was an extra in a movie when she was just 15 years old, and they discovered her age. The executives knew how old she was, but they still wanted her to be in a bikini all wet. And as she was describing this ordeal, and you can tell she was kind of uncomfortable with the fact that she was so young, the host kind of laughed it off and acted as if it was nothing when she was just a child.
Megan, what is it like working with the director Michael Bay, who from all accounts appears to be insane?
Yeah, well, he's infamous for being a sort of tyrant, I guess, on set. But the first time I ever worked with him, actually, I had just turned 15, and I was an extra in Bad Boys 2.
Really?
And yeah, they were shooting this club scene, and they brought me in, and I was wearing a Stars and Stripes bikini and a red cowboy hat and like 6-inch heels. And they took me to Mike, and he approved it, and they said, you know, Michael, she's 15, so you can't sit her at the bar, and she can't have a drink in her hand. So his solution to that problem was to then have me dancing underneath a waterfall getting soaking wet. And that's...
Perfectly wholesome?
At 15, I was in 10th grade. So that's sort of a microcosm of how Bay's mind works.
Well, that's really a microcosm of how all our minds work. But some of us have the decency to repress those thoughts and pretend that they don't exist.
Right.
You guys, this is more common than you can ever imagine, but it's absolutely disgusting and deplorable, the amount of things that these top Hollywood executives would get away with and continue to get away with just because they know there's so many people desperate for fame. Next, we'll be discussing mandatory sexual assault. So when I call it mandatory sexual assault, I'm referring to the fact that it was quote-unquote consensual, but not necessarily. A lot of men and women that are looking to get into the entertainment industry are put in very uncomfortable situations. Some situations being sexual. There have been numerous artists that have come out and stated that when they said that they want to work with an executive, whether it's in music or in acting, they've been requested to do some heinous things all in the light of fame. And it's kind of the expectation that you need to sleep with these people to get to where you want to be in your career.
I found when I was a 16-year-old, fresh from boarding school, going out into, on the casting couch, I was definitely objectified to an extreme. And when I
was it the way you made you were made to feel, or the way you were treated?
The way I was made to feel, the way I was exploited, and the kinds of roles and the kinds of things I was expected to do in auditions. I mean, there was one horrific incident where I went back for a second audition. It was a screen test. There were 2 other people in the room, the director, who I'd seen previously, and the casting director, who was a woman. And the director asked me to sit with my legs apart. The camera was right between, positioned where it could see up my skirt, to put my leg over the arm of the chair, and before I started my dialogue, think about the character that I was supposed to be having the dialogue with, and how it felt to be made love to by this person. And I was thinking, this is so strange. Why would I need to do that? But this is the director. He is talking. There's the casting director.
It must be normal.
It must be normal. I'm 18 years old, and I'm thinking this is obviously something that I was in a protected. There were boundaries. And 3 years later, I was at the Cannes Film Festival, and we bumped into this, my husband and I bumped into this rather drunk producer, a British producer, who mentioned the director that I had this audition with, and he looked very sheepish and walked away. And my husband grabbed him later and said, why did you start to say something and then didn't? And it turned out that the director who had who went on to make the film and who I was auditioning for, used to show that video late at night to interested parties at his house. A video of me touching myself with a camera up my
So you were
skirt.
abused, but at the time it didn't feel like
And
it.
that was in a professional environment.
Complying and being whatever people want, not thinking of my own well-being, has played a role in a few key traumatic experiences I've had as an adult. So, trigger warning. One of them happened when I was unknowingly groomed by a person in power. It started at an influencer event and then continued over subsequent days during meetings with him that were painted as business opportunities. In hindsight, I realized I felt very uncomfortable in several moments early on, and several inappropriate things happened, and different tactics of power and manipulation were used. But in the moment, I either froze or fawned, and I didn't know what to do, and it was all escalating so quickly. Well, it culminated when he invited me to visit his product lab, and upon arrival,
This is probably one of the most disgusting things about Hollywood, in my opinion, and I'm so glad that I did not continue my route to get to Hollywood because I wanted to be an actress growing up. I was actually pretty good at acting, if I'm being completely honest, but I'm glad I didn't because so many actors are kind of desperate for fame because not everybody gets their big break. There's only a select amount of actors and actresses that really make it big, and even then, they're still struggling, hence why all these protests are going on in Hollywood right now. So they may perform certain tasks or be tempted to perform certain tasks because they want to get their big break. And it's such a shame that these Hollywood executives see this and take advantage of so many people, especially young people.
And I also want to make sure that I make it clear that not all of this is consensual. A lot of this is blatant assault, like the two stories that we spoke on. Some creatives do believe it's the way for them to gain fame by sleeping with people, so they do that. That's when I call it mandatory sexual assault versus the people that actually were assaulted. The last girl that we just saw in that clip, I want to make it clear that that was indeed sexual assault. And as for Thandie Newton, that as well was not her choice. But regardless, a lot of these artists and creatives are being taken advantage of.
One person that spoke on this was the rapper Lotto. Lotto stated that she wanted to work with a particular artist, and that artist said that they would not work with her unless she slept with them. Take a look at this clip.
With these men, you know what I'm saying? They don't know how to keep it business, and then they want to like.
What do you mean by that?
So like, I don't care. Like, baby, I'm gonna just keep it 100. It's a feature on my album. That it was difficult to clear, and they like trying to drop their nuts on me because I won't respond to a DM.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Is it and without saying the name, but is it artist or producer or somebody?
Artist.
Oh wow.
Artist. Yeah.
And they'll still be on the album?
Yeah, just because I love the song so much and I had to turn it in yesterday, so I didn't really have a choice. So I was like backed into a corner like bully. But I wish more females would speak up on stuff. I know like the labeling and stuff, they say, you know, don't do that, bad business, whatever. Man, these folks be trying to drop nuts on female rappers.
And then,
like, I'm not gonna shut up about it.
Also, too, Lotto, it's like you gotta expose the game too.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody that's coming up either next to you, behind you, or you know, it could be a year or two. And sometimes, Lotto, we think that that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Like some people probably think like, oh, that's how you get in the business.
Right.
That's how you get a song
We tolerate
cleared.
too much. We think like, oh, well, that just come with the game being a female rapper. No, it shouldn't though.
Right.
It shouldn't. That's lame.
Because
Yeah, it's
they
lame.
definitely wouldn't do that to pick any male rapper.
You know you ain't doing that to your fellow male rapper.
Yeah, you're not
Like,
hitting
come
Future up
on.
like, hey man, what's happening, man? What's
Come
up?
on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Damn, are you a fan of that person first? Man, I was a fan. Like,
I mean, well, I will say this: everybody on my album, I don't like go seek features if I don't listen to their music or I'm
so
like.
it meant something to you.
So it meant something to me for sure. Like I was definitely rubbed the wrong way, but I love the song so much, and I didn't want to not put it on my album. So I'm like, I don't have no choice.
Anneliese Vanderpool, who played Chelsea in the hit series That's So Raven, also touched on this topic. She stated how a lot of these executives, the people that you worked with if you were on a series as a child, they kind of plotted on you and waited for you to turn 18. Sometimes they wouldn't even wait till you turn 18, but the ones that wanted to play it safe and be appropriate would seduce and tempt these young girls and men to sleep with them once they hit that age and put them in uncomfortable situations or act as if they liked them. Take a look at this clip.
How
about you, though? I've never known you to date anybody in Hollywood. What's your dating life been
I
like?
know.
Horrible?
I mean, I've definitely hooked up with my fair share. But as far as dating, no.
Yeah.
No, you were asking, I was looking at some of the things, the questions like, what would I tell my younger self and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is always a good question. And I think I would have said, don't hook up with somebody just because they want to hook up with you.
Yeah.
I don't know why young girls do that. We think we're powerful. We think, if we get that that exception, or that, if some guy's sexually attracted to you and you give them what they want, that somehow you're more adult, more powerful, you're more of a woman. And I definitely would have told myself not to do that so much. Older guys, people behind the scenes on That's So Raven, people who, I just never should have.
Older guys that were just like extras. I dated a couple extras. I remember when I turned 18, my mom was like, I'm warning you that when you turn 18, some of the people that are working with you, they may start to treat you differently or hit on you.
And it feels so good, right? You feel so powerful. Yeah. You're making money. You're making people laugh. You're on set. So you already feel insanely powerful. I mean, we had been making money since teenagehood.
So as you guys can see, it's not as uncommon as you think. This happens over and over again. And so many young people, especially impressionable young people that really just want their big break, fall upon this because Hollywood seems so beautiful, though it is incredibly dark because these executives know how desperate people are for fame. And last but certainly not least, we're going to be speaking about the amount of secrets in Hollywood. There are so many secrets that we don't even know about and that we can't even touch on. We spoke about this a little bit when we mentioned the Illuminati and secret societies in Hollywood, but I also want to speak on these yacht parties. So I'm not going to be doing the talking for this segment of the video. I'm going to have somebody else do the talking. This was someone that used to work on these massive yachts, and the amount of girls that we know today that would go on these yachts to do very questionable and outlandish things, all to gain fame and opportunity. Some of these women that were alleged to be on these yachts are Kendall Jenner, Kylie Jenner, Hailey Baldwin, and even Meghan Markle. Y'all, please take a look at this and I'll come back with the rest of my commentary.
Yachting is one of the entertainment industry's biggest open secrets, with A-list stars, including models, actors, and influencers, being rumored to have been involved in yachting at some point during their careers. The term itself first started gaining traction when the Hollywood Reporter published an investigation into the culture at the Cannes Film Festival in 2013, claiming that models and some Hollywood actors swarmed the hotels and yacht parties during the festival. A man named Eli Nahas, who ran a modeling agency at the time and would later be convicted of supplying more than 50 women to rich Middle Eastern clients during the festival, said, "Every year there are 30 to 40 luxury yachts in the bay at Cannes, and every boat belongs to a very rich person. Every boat has about 10 girls on it, and they are usually nude or half nude. These women are referred to as yacht girls, and they blur the lines between party goers and escorts, as the general agreement between them and the host of the boat is that by coming aboard they are expected to carry out favors, but at the end of the night they are all gifted envelopes full of varying amounts of money. The amount of cash they receive is based upon their celebrity status and what favors they carried out over the course of the evening. According to Nahas, you'd definitely recognize more than a few names from Hollywood. They tell themselves what they're doing at Cannes is okay, that they're just on dates with girls include Bella Hadid, Hailey Bieber, and Meghan Markle. The men who own these boats are extremely wealthy, and unfortunately, with wealth comes power and connections, and having a decent relationship with some of these people could take your career to the next level. According to the Hollywood Reporter, yachting your way to stardom happens with disturbing frequency, and even pointed a finger at actress Irina Shayk, who landed her debut role in the film Hercules despite having 0 previous acting credits. And in a stylist article on women yachting, an anonymous source said, "You might see people on the red carpet and have no idea who they are, but there's a reason why they're being elevated. They're being seen, but so is the person who invited them there." They also went on to say, "You often see someone with 1 million followers, always traveling and being pictured on a private jet, and you think, well, how are they doing that? Where are they going and who with?"
The men who are going to be involved in yachting, it's going to be very high up, well-to-do, extremely wealthy men. well-connected, anonymous businessman type. You wouldn't recognize their name. You have no idea who they are. They probably own a bunch of companies, got a lot of money. You wouldn't recognize their name.
I found this Kris Jenner, Kylie Jenner blind item from 2015 that is so creepy, but I've never believed something more. We had really hoped that the younger member of this family would avoid all the pitfalls to which the others fell prey. No such luck. She's already in deep. The latest, she is actually being coached by her mother in both the art of pleasing a man as well as how to find one to pay her a lot to do it. We're not talking about a boyfriend or husband here. No, we're talking about yachting. We're talking about professional work. Her television fame and young age are already earning her a significant bonus over others who provide similar services. So that is Kris Jenner literally pimping out her own daughter, who was not 18, well below 18 at the time. Oh my god, and this is when they were filming Keeping Up with the Kardashians. On brand, at least. Most of Meghan Markle's yacht girl pics have been scrubbed from the internet, but I did manage to find a few. So this is essentially a compilation of what still exists on the internet of Meghan Markle as a yacht girl. So there's an ongoing rumor that Meghan Markle did meet Prince Andrew before she met Prince Harry yachting. So according to the guy Marcus Anderson, who is notorious for being the one to set up the blind date between Harry and Meghan, photos exist of Meghan Markle and Andrew on a yacht in Thailand. You can pause to read. This is further details about Meghan's alleged yacht girl antics. But don't be fooled by these old photos. A lot of people on their internet like to pretend that that's Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew. It's not.
And after these photos were taken of Meghan on these yachts, she then got her famous role in the hit series Suits. This was her big break. This is where she started getting connections. This is how potentially she met Prince Harry. These are all allegations. We don't know what Meghan was doing on those yachts, but according to evidence, she may or may not have been a yacht girl as well.
3 words: Dubai, porta, potty. Yes, it is a real thing. Let's go ahead and get into this a little bit. Y'all keep telling me to spill, but I have to watch what I say. Y'all trying to get me caught up. So I know a couple girlies that have been on a couple trips, so I guess you could say I have the inside scoop. Have I ever been on a yachting or a Dubai trip? No, that's not me. Y'all stay safe though. You couldn't pay me $100,000 to let somebody in my mouth. Y'all, I have some friends that have not worked jobs in like 5 to 8 years. All they gotta do is spend 1 weekend in Dubai and they will come home with $50,000. But yes, you do have to let them get the goods. And there may be a golden shower, maybe even a post-laxative shower. So if you're wondering who the hell is sponsoring this C-list reality star that hasn't been on a Netflix show in like 5 years, how is this IG model with 2K likes somehow with a new Chanel bag, always in Dubai, always all over Europe, Paris? You know, I'm sure some people get their money, different ways. But a lot of times, this shit is also done in groups. So my friends have seen some very familiar faces. People you would not expect. So the next time you feel a little jealous or you feel, oh my gosh, I wish that was my life, it's the E. coli in the mouth for me. Wait, but did you guys hear about that one situation where that influencer was literally gonna fly to Dubai to sleep with a minor? You can look this up. Homegirl got exposed. Somebody tricked her. They said that they were going to give, thousands of dollars if she agreed to, fly overseas and participate in activities that she shouldn't be fucking doing, obviously, with a minor. And they managed to somehow get her to record a video describing everything that she was about to do and saying that she agreed to it. And they fucking posted it as they should. And that person got caught. Imagine the amount of people that are doing weird shit like that behind the scenes. Y'all need to be careful who you idolize.
And I would be lying if I said that some of these situations didn't involve animals.
There actually used to be a website, not the Alpha Chain, there actually used to be a website that you could go to and sign up, and there'd be a bunch of guys on there. You just post your picture, your age, all that. And people will hire you. And they guaranteed 7 figures a month. But it's gone now. Before y'all try to go and find it, stop.
I'm honestly not even shocked because the amount of girls that you see primarily today, I would say social media influencers that are constantly on yachts, in these lavish, beautiful apartments, spending all types of money, having designer bags, doing all these procedures, plastic surgery, all of these things. And you're like, how are they doing this at just 24? I think we just answered our question. Now, like I said, this is all alleged. This is just somebody that could be pretending to have all this information. But I would not be surprised if it was in fact true. There's just so much that we don't know. And if we tie it right back to Doja Cat, Doja can be trying to get out of the industry and free herself from all of the pressures that are going on. Because if you really listen to her, it's as if she's purposely trying to get herself canceled so she no longer has to be in this industry. It's almost as if she's begging to leave. There's so many other celebrities I could speak on. Of course, Britney Spears, everybody speaks on. I did not mention her in this video because I feel like so many have spoken about her. But you have Britney Spears, Orlando Brown, Amanda Bynes, so many of these people that have fallen upon substance abuse, alcohol abuse, committed suicide. So many things that we look at them as if they were crazy or like, how could you not want this life? You're rich, you're famous. But there was a more sinister aspect in gaining fame and notoriety. But you guys, that is the end of today's video. I, of course, want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. This video took me forever to film, but I do believe it's going to stir up a very good conversation. What are your thoughts on Hollywood? What are your thoughts on Doja Cat? Do you believe these conspiracy theories? Do you think they're false? Do you think they're not? Let's get the discussion going in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate and I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the love and support as always. If you guys like this video, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I will see you all in my very next video. Love you guys. Bye. Mwah.
Taking you in this moment. Come get close like you own it. Read your aura, you want more.